It is 2021 and we are finally allowed to start the 2020 cross-country season. We'll be starting to have meets on February 13th and competing through March 20th. One of the problems here at Amador Valley and with other schools is we're not able to use our traditional home course at Shadow Cliffs, as many other schools are not able to use their home courses either. And so we have created a course on campus that we can use. Right now we just have a 2-mile course, so we probably don't want to use it later in the season, but it's something to start with. And we're going to talk about how that works. First of all, down here, in order to keep teams separated, we're going to have designated areas for them, and the Amador Valley team will be set up at the south goalpost. We'll put up a tent there, and that's where Amador Valley athletes will gather. If and when we are allowed to have fans in the stands, that may not happen at all this season. We're going to have fans of one team on one side of the press box and fans of the other team on the other side of the press box. It actually works out very well. There's a great view of the entire course from the top of the bleachers, and we'll go over that, or I'll show that a little bit later in the video. Here we're looking at the visitors' bleachers. This is where the visiting team will gather, so far away from where the Amador Valley team will gather, but still a fine place to set up. And this way we can keep the teams apart, keep them socially distanced all the way up till competition. The starting area is actually behind the scoreboard. There's a trail back there where we begin. We'll show it in a second, but it's about a 200-meter straight shot before we hit our first turn. The visiting team will enter the course through gates right behind the stadium. They're not open right now, but they will be open on race day. And so there's a gate in that fence, and athletes from the opposing team are going to walk through that gate to get to the starting line. Right now we're on the other side of the track, actually right in front of the shot put ring where Nate Esparza threw 65 feet, I think was his PR in this ring. And the reason we're over here is because there's another gate in the corner here that heads out to that same trail, and this is where the Amador Valley athletes will go through when they enter the stadium. The two gates are also where the athletes will exit, so when they enter and exit the course, it'll be through different gates, and so the athletes will really have no contact with each other until they reach the starting line, or after. And right now I'm walking through those visitors' gates in order to get over to the starting line. So here we are at the starting line. You can see the visitors area is off to the right. The gate, the shot put ring where the home team's gate is up in front of me. And what we're gonna have here is about a 200-meter straight shot to begin with. Obviously when we race, the lawnmowers will be out of the way and the gates will all be open. But this is where we are for now. Athletes are going to report to the starting line with face coverings on. And in lieu of our traditional 2-command start, we're going to give a 3-command start. The first command will be an instruction for the runners, or not an instruction. Athletes are free to keep their face coverings on to race if they wish, but they'll have permission to take them off. Athletes will need to carry their face covering with them throughout the race, and when they finish, they'll need to put it back on before they exit the course. The finish line is farther ahead, as we'll see later. It's beyond that first gate, so there shouldn't be any cross traffic. You won't have to walk backwards to get along the course to get out of the stadium, or excuse me, to get off the course and back into the stadium. So they'll have the command to take their masks off, and then the following 2 commands are the traditional set and go. Starting boxes will be separated by 6 feet, so teams will be more to the outsides, one team to the left, one team to the right. to keep teams a little bit separated before the gun. And then we have 200 meters really before they have to converge to make a right-hand turn into the parking lot. So athletes will finish that 200 meters and come out this gate, which will be open next week, or when we race, and make this hairpin turn onto this sidewalk, where they'll run, and there's a rolling gate up here that they will enter the campus from. So it looks very cross-country here. A lot of asphalt and sidewalk on this course, so it's the best we could do under our circumstances. When they enter through the rolling gate, they're just over a quarter mile into the race. I think GPS says it's about 0.26, 0.27 miles to that gate from the starting line. We're standing just on the inside of the rolling gate, which next week will be open, or when we compete will be open, and athletes will run through. And what they're going to do is then come around these trees and run towards that sign that says small gym. When they reach that, they're going to make a right and head around, head to the right and go past our large gym, which is on the other side. So here we are at that turn by the small gym, and we'll turn right, basically run through this area. You see the building with the mural on it. We're going to take a quick right. You'll see when we get there, it's not a sharp right, but we're going to veer to the right of that building. So here's the building with the mural, and you can see we can veer to the right of this. We're just going to come through here. And then we're going to make a right-hand turn, and the next part of the course, we're just going to do a lap around our large gym. And so we'll come around the corner, head to the edge. And this is one of our loops that we do a couple of times on the course. Wouldn't want this on a regular cross-country course, and part of the reason we made this 2 miles is because in order to make it 3 miles or 5K, we'd have to do more loops around the gym, which sounded awful, but I think we can handle a couple just to get it to 2 miles. So we'll come around, and you can see basically you're looking at that rolling gate that we just came into. We'll run towards that, and then at the end here, make a right and go back towards that small gym sign. And basically come around that corner the same way we did the first time. So we're back here in front of the building with the mural, only this time we've done a full lap around the large gym. This time when we come through this area, we're going to make a left at the end of the building. And so instead of making the right, the first time we came through, we went right and did a lap around the gym. This time what we're going to do is make a left, and we're going to run a loop around the JV baseball field. And so I'm going to head this way. And when we run the race, there will be flagging and indicators here about where people need to run. But what we're going to do is run behind those 2 trees. That's where we're going to enter the JV baseball field. We'll run in the outfield. Take a pretty wide loop around this field, and then come back out. So here are those 2 trees, and we're going to run between them as we enter probably the most cross-countryest part of this cross-country course, because there's grass. Footing here is pretty good, but it's not great. For cross-country runners, it's fine. Probably if you're playing JV baseball, it's not perfect right now, but JV baseball isn't going right now. We will walk up and take a look at some of the little mounds in the dirt, and just so we're aware of it before we start. Again, this will all be flagged, so our route through this area will be clear. But you can see that it's not all grass, but mostly grass, and there are some spots with some bad footing, but it's cross country, so it's not a problem really. We won't go all the way to the end because just some stuff that gets left kind of on the sides. You can see the tackling dummies and things. And there's always just some crap over here. So we won't go that far. We'll cut right around here, end up to the right of our discus ring, and then run around the infield of the baseball field and come back out. So as we come off this stretch of grass, we will exit the baseball field and do a hairpin turn and come back around to where we came from. And normally at this time of the year, track season would be started. And instead we're just starting cross country, but we're gonna get a little flavor of track season by running a lap around the track. And I'm trying to paint a positive on that because I really don't like running on the track in cross country, but it's how we get us to 2 miles. So that's what we're gonna do. So we'll come up here, we'll enter the track, we'll enter through the large gate. So here's the large gate, and athletes will run through here and onto the track. You can see a barricade when we get onto the track. We'll come through this gate. That barricade will not be here next weekend, so you don't have to worry about that. And the mile mark is going to be on the home stretch here. Not quite all the way up the home stretch, but maybe 70 meters from the 100-meter start. About. We'll run a full lap around the track and come back out. And when we come back out, we've really covered all the different areas of the course. We'll exit through the same gate that we entered. We're going to run one last loop around the large gym, which will cycle back into one more loop around the JV baseball field. And when we come out of the JV baseball field, instead of running to the track, we'll again run around the front of the back here of the large gym and head back out where we came from. So this time when we run through this area, we'll come out, we'll go back through the rolling gate, and once we get out the rolling gate, we'll run back around the sidewalk, make that left, and run to the finish line. As runners finish, we're going to see the finish line right around the middle of the tennis courts. Amador Valley athletes will, after putting their masks back on, Amador Valley athletes will exit through the gate on the left. Opposing team athletes will walk back past the starting line and to the left and go back through the gate they entered the stadium from. So I noted earlier that this is a pretty spectator-friendly course if we are allowed to have spectators, and this is kind of the view you get from the top of the bleachers. Looking towards the scoreboard, just past there you can see the starting line. You'd be able to watch athletes as they ran down that first pathway. That's a press box kind of in the way for just a second. And then you can kind of see maybe what's happening, probably not very well, through the tennis courts. But then they'll reemerge right here as they go out behind the varsity baseball field. They'll get to that first gate, and from here you'll be able to see them as they head through the parking lot, through the trees. There's some portables there, but just over those portables is where you're seeing that rolling gate. You can sort of see it right there. I'll come in, and you'll be able to see them as they go towards that small gym. So you'll be able to see there will be some obstruction as they go past the large gym right here. But this is where they're going to pop back out. You'll see them come out here and they'll run around. They'll run this lap around the gym and go back in, and you'll lose them again for a second. They'll come out here and you'll get to see this whole loop around this JV baseball field. So that's where they're running there. And they'll come out, do another, they'll come out and then they'll do the lap on the track right in front of the grandstand. Which obviously we can see the whole track from here. Go back out this gate. Another lap around the big gym. And then a lap around the JV baseball field, which we can see just about all of that. And then we'll be able to see them as they exit this area and go back through the parking lot and as they come in to finish.